listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. Before we get going with the Asia Cup and with the Women's World Cup, just a quick reminder to click like and subscribe on whichever platform you are watching or listening on. It helps us out. It will help you out when you want to find the podcast in the future. And they are both good things. Both good things. Max, it's a choose your own adventure now. Do you want to go to the World Cup, or would you like to get through the Asia Cup?
Let's get through the Asia Cup, because that happened a little while ago, didn't it? Let's get that out of the way chronologically.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically going back into the archives now. But for people who follow cricket and for some reason didn't notice, India have won in a miraculous turn of events. India have won the Asia Cup. I said, and I maybe gave this tournament the kiss of death. To be honest, I said, I think before it started, that I think the Asia Cup is a better cricket tournament than the ICC Champions Trophy.
You did say that, yes.
Yeah. After this iteration, I would say 2025, the 2025 editions of the Champions Trophy and the Asia Cup equally bad. I don't think it was worse.
No, I can't even remember the Champions Trophy.
New Zealand, that Glenn Phillips took loads of one-handed catches and India won.
Oh yeah,
that was it. England, they lost probably humiliatingly to a few people. I think Ben Duckett got some runs at one point. It wasn't great. South Africa had to fly around the world before that.
Oh yeah, it was the whole random games in Dubai nonsense, wasn't it?
Yeah. In this tournament, obviously there's two stages. I think the first stage, actually, it's about 10 days ago, I think, our last pod. The second stage had just started. India blitzed through that, obviously. Bangladesh and Sri Lanka not offering those. Bangladesh actually had a couple of moments in the tournament. Like, it wasn't as bleak as it has been in world cricket for Bangladesh. In
T20 as well, specifically.
Yeah, like they managed to lose, chasing 135. And they got beaten by 41 runs, bowled out for 127 against India. But like, they did a couple of things in those games where you actually thought, oh, maybe Bangladesh will win this, and they beat Sri Lanka off, I think, the second last ball of an innings. So Bangladesh, I don't know why we start with them. You know, for Bangladesh, I think that's a solid B. Yeah. Sri Lanka got through, then lost all three of their games by slightly narrower margins than the Bangladeshis, but they lost that one-off game against Bangladesh. I think it was a super over, wasn't there? This is a kind of a haphazard way of going through the whole thing. There was a super over that Sri Lanka were involved in against India. So India, unbeaten in the tournament, won the whole thing. Nearly taken down by the Sri Lankans. Unfortunately for Sri Lanka, they could not score a 4 or 3 off the last ball of the game. And then they managed to score 2 off 5 balls, all out in the super over. Well bowled by Arshdeep Singh to complete their 0 win. So I will give Sri Lanka like a C. Then that moves us to the two finalists, Pakistan and India. Effectively, this whole tournament was a ruse to play a 3-match bilateral series that it turns out no one wanted to see for once.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm surprised that they managed it, because I was fully expecting Pakistan to fall at not the first hurdle. That would have been ridiculous, but the second hurdle at least.
Yes,
with, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh involved. I actually thought Afghanistan would do all right, but they flattered to see. But yeah, Pakistan making it through to the final was actually a surprise.
I would probably agree with that, and I would say it's quite a Pakistan move. Like, the world cricket, since we started doing this podcast, probably for 6 solid years, we're saying we need to see more India v Pakistan. We need to see more India Pakistan. Then we get to this tournament, nobody wants to see India v Pakistan. Like, everyone is against it, and it happens 3 times. So well done, Pakistan, for
it was
pulling off.
Back at the start, it was competitive, wasn't it? We had the World Cup game where Shaheen Afridi smashed the top order, and we were like, we need more of this. This is great. There hadn't been a war, so that wasn't so bad.
There wasn't a war, yeah. I think
now it's just now it's a bit of well,
So
nose in the dirt, isn't it? Very one-sided.
Well, yeah, India are a lot better than Pakistan. I think is the India are a lot better than everyone in Asia. I think is the main headline from this tournament. In the final itself, Pakistan had a shot. Like they started incredibly well on a pitch that wasn't getting any better. 113 for 2 after the 13th over. You're thinking probably from that point 180, even for a bad team, is a possibility. Maybe minimum 165. Bowled out for 146. Top score, the lowest 8 batters was 8, which is poor. I mean, like Kuldeep Yadav is good at cricket, and Chakravarti and Akshar Patel are pretty decent as well. And then I mean, India. Just to give you I don't think many people in the UK watch this. I think even for like India fans in the UK, I don't think this was the must-watch TV that it maybe has been. Partly because of the tensions between the two countries, but also because like it was
the third of 3 and the first 2 were
it's the third of 3. Yeah, exactly. But the India opened the bowling with Shivam Dubey and Jasprit Bumrah. Like that kind of gives you an insight into the surfaces this was being played on. So like Pakistan, 113 for 2 off 13 overs. You're so you're in such a good position there. And then like to only end up on 146 is it's a very Pakistan tournament, really. This whole thing is a very Pakistan tournament. Pakistan kind of get ahead again with the ball, 20 for 3. You're thinking that's going to be quite difficult to chase down, but then you remember it's in Dubai, and if you're chasing and it's a medium score, you always win. And that's what happened. Tilak Varma, 69 off 53. A professional, if slightly unspectacular, performance. Well done, India, on that. Any reflections, Max? I think is the question.
Yeah, the one for me is that I think the irony around the whole game is palpable, in the sense that Pakistan went into this tournament with 2 notable omissions from their side in the form of Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan, who've been mainstays of the Pakistan white ball team for a very long time, and maligned for a very long time for how slowly they bat. Babar Azam 30 off 30, Rizwan 30 off 30 to start Pakistan innings off, a regular feature. And they finally decided that was not how you play T20 cricket. And well done to them for doing so. The irony, of course, being that from the position they were in the final, if they had either of them batting at 4, they would have won the game. But there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe a horses for courses thing in Dubai, but I mean, I'm finally pleased that Pakistan have worked out that T20 cricket does need to be a little bit more aggressive than they were offering. That being said, the replacements didn't really fare any better over the course of the tournament. But in the game itself, 57 off 38 to open the batting from Sabid Zada Farhan in the final is what you want, and it got them to a very, very good point in the game. But there you go, wasn't to be.
Yeah. After the game, I think there was a more sort of shambolic behaviour from everyone involved. India refused to accept the trophy from whoever it was, whichever dignitary.
Because they were Pakistani. That's taking it a little bit too far.
Some sort of a hold up there. I think, as we said on the last podcast, it's okay not to want to play sport against somebody. Like, the solution in that scenario is to not play against them. This weird, we'll have all the money, but quasi protest, even though we actually really do want all the money move. The whole tournament is basically
it's a sham to make India play Pakistan because they never play each other, and then you complain about it.
Yeah.
So
it's what it is.
Have your cake and eat it.
Fun. Well, it wasn't fun, was it? It was pretty rubbish. Pretty pretty rubbish overall. Women's World Cup, Max, not so rubbish. Actually, started pretty well. We have, after a few games, some storylines to talk about. Australia,
one being Pakistan v India.
Well, we've got Pakistan v India. We'll do that in a bit. But let's do some of the teams that have started strong. Australia, they're at the top, although they had a rain out. Sri Lanka picking up a point there, so potentially a little bit of jeopardy for them, but in reality, probably not that much. India, they're 2 from 2, including that win v Pakistan. And England, they're back, Max. And we're going to start with England because we're English and they're the best. They demolished the South African women. And Max, does that mean after bowling South Africans out for 69 and chasing it within 14 overs, that England are now favourites for the World Cup?
Oh, unquestionably. There's nothing more that you could possibly want from a sample of, what was it, 35 overs. Tells you everything you need to know. It's nice that England have started well, because as an English fan and for England, because obviously the women's side have had been in a bit of turmoil recently, haven't they? The John Lewis was removed as coach. There was all the hoo-ha early in the year about Alex Hartley saying that they were unfit, and then all the people refusing to do an interview with her because she was giving an opinion like she's paid to do, and actually she was right, because look at you are all unfit and you're dropping the ball every 5 seconds. Maybe you should stop dropping the ball. And Charlotte Edwards took over, and things didn't immediately get better, which is probably what people expected to happen. But funnily enough, things take a little bit of time, and they have started to turn the ship around a bit. The warm-ups looked solid. They beat India handily, after losing 2 home white ball series to India earlier in the year. So it does feel like a corner has been turned for England. So for them to get the tournament off to a strong start against a South Africa side that are one of the top of the challenging group, I suppose, might be the only ones in the challenging. Well, them and New Zealand, really, aren't they? They're the head of the challenging group, and the side that effectively ended England's World Cup earlier in the year, and have actually had a decent record of beating them in big games in the World Cup in the last few years. So a potential banana skin out the way in emphatic fashion. A banana gobbled up and split in half and had chocolate sauce drizzled over it.
Yeah, I mean, from England's point of view, to get through to the semi-finals, which is sort of the minimum expectation, they had to sort of beat, no disrespect to Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and Pakistan, but you expect them to beat all of them. They have to beat one of South Africa and New Zealand. So doing that emphatically in the first game is
ideal
stuff. Yeah, it puts them in a really nice place. India v Pakistan, Max, what do you want to say about that?
Well, I mean, obviously the
umpiring.
The result was never in question, because I think the stat was that every game India have played against Pakistan women in ODI cricket, or might even be ODI cricket, has been a win of either more than 5 wickets or more than 80 runs. It's not close between them.
Yeah, India
are a good side and Pakistan are not. But the umpiring was farcical. And it even started before the game had got underway, didn't it, Jack? Because somehow they managed to get the toss wrong. The Pakistan captain called tails. The umpire said they'd called heads, and then it was heads, and then they're like, "Oh, you won the toss," and everyone was like, "That's fine. We'll just carry on," and set the precedent, didn't it? Then there was the run out that was given, erroneously.
It was given erroneously. She was
not out.
She was plum LBW. So
yes. So do you reckon they were just making up for the fact that India should have appealed the LBW or reviewed the LBW and didn't?
I don't know.
We're going to help you out here.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on. I don't know whether India didn't appeal it because they thought the run out was out.
Well, that's true.
Or review it, or like exactly what was going on. But we went into some sort of weird vortex where she grounded her bat and then moved her bat, was run out. We went back to rules from the 1990s, which
Well, I think it's, they changed the rule quite recently, didn't they? To say that if you are, I think the rule is if you're running or diving towards your crease and you ground a bit of your bat or body behind the line, and then subsequently it stops being in contact with the ground, you are still counted as in. That's the rule. I suppose the very nuanced bit here is that they weren't. Sorry, law. You are correct. The slightly nuanced bit is that she wasn't actually running or diving towards the crease. She was just sort of standing there and lifted her bat up. I don't know if that changes things. But the fact that they'd given it not out in the first place, just that's it. Like, move on. Because the rule is that you could just give it not out and then you don't need to reopen the. It was so dumb.
It was done by everyone involved, including the batter, and it was out LBW. So I don't feel like
it's not affected the game. It is just bad. It's just bad optics, isn't it?
Just bad stuff.
Yeah,
bad stuff. As well, there was another slightly controversial no ball, but I looked at that one and
there was also a big delay for
controversy.
Big delay for some fumigation as well. Did you see that?
Yeah, there's some bugs. There were some bugs. It's good in a game really that was a massive blowout when there is a bunch of stuff that does happen.
Yeah,
to kind of make it more interesting. If you wanted to be generous towards Pakistan, I think you could say that actually they at least had a chance of winning this game at some points in the match.
It was a clutch performance.
Yeah, 5 for 159 in the first innings. Sometimes you wrap up a team in that scenario. They don't score another 100 runs. And I don't know whether they were that close in the chase, but if you wanted to be generous, you could say sometimes teams do score 100 in 13 overs. Not very often when they're 5 wickets down.
Yeah, I mean, they were 95 for 3 at one point.
Well, yeah, maybe that's a better point. There were moments where it wasn't a foregone conclusion. India looked pretty good, though. I think they're well in the race, aren't they? It'll probably be India v Australia in the final, the way things are shaking out, and we'll keep an eye on things.
It's an incredible scorecard, actually. The Pakistan scorecard, because they were 95 for 3 at one point, but the card reads 2-6-81-2. So it was all very very one person doing the job, but I think so with India, like Australia, obviously the titans of women's cricket. No one can stop them, but it's in India and Sri Lanka. And do you feel that this is an opportunity for India to take down the big dogs this tournament? Can they do it, or is it just Australia going to win again?
I mean, if I had an even bet on any of the teams, I would pick Australia. Does that help? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I mean, you get your money back, and obviously
Australia are clearly, clearly the favourites.
But is this? I guess what I'm saying is, do you think this is as good an opportunity for anyone to take down Australia as there has been in the last few years, or not?
So,
or maybe I should say for someone who isn't Australia or England.
I think there is a decent chance. India are probably the second favourites, but I don't think. I think Australia probably playing in India is their least optimal. India and Sri Lanka is their least optimal place to play of the realistic venues, host nation venues for this. But I don't think it's quite like in the men's tournament where the Australian men's team are much less optimally set up to play cricket in India than India are. I think the gap is much smaller, and I think you would a lot of this comes down to bowling attacks and familiarity with the conditions and stuff like that. I think Australia's bowling attack is better than India's bowling attack in India, and I don't think that is the case in the men's game, where it would be a clear advantage for India when they didn't win the 2023 World Cup and bungled it. Like they had all the conditions, and like that was definitely an upset. Like an Australia-India final, Australia should win that 70% of the time. Maybe, potentially even a bit more than that. So I don't.
So not really, I guess.
Like it is a chance. If it was in Australia, I think it would be 85%. So there is a little bit of a swing. Like it does, the conditions moderate things slightly. They do improve the Indian bowling attack, but they don't make it surpass. They just close that gap a little bit. I don't know. I think it could be an interesting World Cup. It probably actually, there's. We'll see. We'll see. We'll need to see a few more games, but I think England might even be an outside shout. They've got a lot of good spin bowlers. Like England's bowling attack. England's bowling attack probably gets a lot closer to Australia's, or probably gets more close to Australia's than India's bowling attack because of the conditions that they're playing in. I think in England's case, which isn't the same for India, I think their batting probably doesn't, is probably not as good as India's batting. So, and there's two sides to this, but like I wouldn't write off the possibility of England skittling someone in a knockout match. I think that'd be, they could be a tricky opponent. My prediction, such that it is that India will lose to Australia in the final. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a fairly believable prediction, isn't it? No, England are going to beat India in the final. That's what's going to happen.
England are going to beat India.
Yeah, India are going to knock out Australia in the semis, and England are going to take home the trophy.
Maybe. Look, it could happen.
Eccleston's going to take 7 wickets for 43 in the final. I don't know.
It could happen.
Yeah.
I
think it's shaping up to be quite an interesting tournament.
It is. I think it is a bit of a 3-horse race.
Yes, it always is. But I think
but it isn't. No,
now.
South Africa have had a chance in some of these tournaments recently. New Zealand have had moments as well. Didn't New Zealand win the last T20 or something like that? I'm pretty sure. You're gonna have to fact check me on that. Like South Africa and New Zealand had closed the gap. New Zealand have lost their first 2 matches, which is a problem for them. And South Africa got pounded by England and have got a big net run rate problem, and they still have to play Australia and India, and they are in although they have beaten New Zealand, which was basically a must-win game for them, they are like they're not in a brilliant situation. It looks themselves like it does look like there's a pretty big gap there, but like you said, right, 10 minutes ago, some of this is coming off the back of 35 overs of England playing cricket, and everyone now thinking that they are amazing. Like that could revert back to recent England, and it becomes they become a non-entity themselves.
You are correct, by the way, about New Zealand winning the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, the problem is in cricket, and people think like we just overlook stuff. Or people might. In this particular case, we were right. But I think sometimes people think we overlook stuff or get things wrong. There are like fucking 4 World Cups a year in this sport. Like knowing who is the champion in all the different formats across both the women's and the men's game it's just ridiculous. Like then you've got the franchise tournament.
It's a specialist subject on Mastermind, isn't it? Holders of the.
If you were able to name the men's Test, ODI, T20, women's T20, women's ODI, the ICC Champions Trophy, the current holders of the IPL, the PSL, the Big Bash, the 100, and the South African one. If you were able to know, if you can name all of those current holders, then I think you're like either a memory machine, or you're watching you're like Jared Kimber. You watch too much cricket.
Well, maybe have you got? Is that an idea for the end of year quiz, Jack? Name the.
Well, maybe it is.
Name the holders.
There are too many competitions. There are too many competitions that all ostensibly mean something. We need to slim this down and have in football, it's easy. You have a World Cup every 4 years. You have a Euros and the South American one every 4 years or 2 years, whatever it is. A Champions League, and then if you can get a couple of the domestic leagues, it's fine. But you know that Germany has been won by Bayern Munich 9 out of 10 times, and you know that Spain is a 50-50 choice between Real Madrid and Barcelona.
So that's what we want, isn't it?
No, but it's rationalized. Like, I understand what's happening. There's too many gongs handed out in cricket, and I'm sure I've missed some franchise competitions there. Didn't say the CPL, did I?
No,
Major League Cricket,
the KTM Super Striker of the match.
Yeah. Then, you've got some individual test series. You've got the Border Gavaskar Trophy. You've got the Ashes. You've got
at least they're 50-50 shots.
Yeah, that is true. There's everything. You win a trophy for everything. It's like an under 11 sports day cricket. Yeah. All right. Look, that's probably the podcast, isn't it? Is there anything we said at the beginning of the podcast that we didn't cover?
I don't think so. I think we've done the three prescient topics of the day. There's a bunch of other stuff going on, isn't there? There's a few test series and India A versus Australia A, but that's not worth our time, Jack. We'll save that for if we're desperate next week.
It's kind of, just to be clear on if people haven't been following this, and we just talked about how there's too much cricket, so just to give you some more cricket to focus on here. It's a very strong. I like India A. I don't know if the message got lost in translation or something, and they thought A was like the main team,
the A team, the under 19 A's.
Like India were rolling with Abhishek Sharma, Tilak Varma, Shreyas Iyer, Arshdeep Singh, Harshit Rana. There's a few other more fringy players, Gurchatneet Singh, who we wanted to see in the IPL, and I don't think we ever did. For example, was also in the side, so it wasn't it wasn't the front 11. But there's Shreyas Iyer and Tilak Varma batted 3 and 4. That's a strong A team. The India.
Rim Parag's in there.
Well, yeah, he is in there. That's a very, very handy A team.
Yeah, I mean, it'll probably be biased by the fact that we cover the IPL in some depth, and therefore we know the names of.
Yeah.
I actually am not familiar with Nishant Sindhu, but the rest of the side, we know exactly who every single one of those players are. You look at the Australia side, I recognise 4 of that starting 11.
Some of these players sound like they've been auto-generated. Harry Thomas Dixon. Who the hell is he? Mackenzie Harvey.
That's a Football Manager regen. That's what that is.
It is. That's what it is. Yeah, it is a little bit like that. Todd Murphy's in the team and Jake Fraser McGurk. It's not a complete thing with
Cooper Connolly.
And India obviously got probably more players to draw upon than Australia with their 6 professional teams. But it's an ask. I mean, to be fair to Australia, they gave it a decent go. 316 batting first. And then they get Prab Simran Singh, 102 off 68 balls.
Dan Weston's sweating in a fever dream somewhere.
I mean, Australia. I'm looking at it. I'm kind of fascinated, but I haven't been following it that closely. Australia managed to draw a test. That's pretty good going. And won one of the 3 ODIs, albeit slightly shortened by rain, but won it comfortably. Mackenzie Harvey, I was knocking him a minute ago, 70 off 49 in that game. Anyway, Max, look, I think that's enough podcast.
Yeah.
You can't do a rant about how there's too much cricket and then start
be like, by the way,
Australia A scorecards. Yeah.
We'll
goodbye, everyone.
We'll be here till the Ashes if we did actually go through everything anyway.
Yeah. Maybe Cooper Connolly is the answer. I've heard things about Cooper. Played one test, didn't he? Looks very Australian in his ESPN photo. Anyway, that's enough pod. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.